We talk all the time about complexity, about, morality. But what if those weren't just philosophical ideas? What if good and evil could actually be defined scientifically?
Right. Measured. Applied universally across what? Physics, biology, ethics.
Exactly. I mean, the traditional frameworks, your theology, your philosophy, they've all struggled to give us one solid answer that works for everyone. But today, we're doing a deep dive into this really comprehensive and, frankly, radical proposal. It's called Celominisignum.
Or the Similarity Theory. And our mission here is really to get our heads around this new hierarchy it proposes. The whole idea is that morality isn't just some cultural agreement. It's about informational coherence.
The coherence score.
Yeah. Let's just call it the coherence score. It's basically a measure of a system's stability.
And the biggest, most radical part of this theory is how it just flips our whole understanding of reality on its head. We're so used to thinking that matter, physical stuff, is primary.
And the theory says, nope, that's just the middle layer, that's secondary.
So what's primary?
Information and order. That's the foundational layer, the code, the blueprint for everything.
And then comes a secondary layer.
Which is light and matter, the things we can actually see and touch. They're just the expression of that primary code.
Okay, so what's left? What's the third layer?
Randomness. And this is critical. Randomness is defined here as just disruptive noise. It's what accelerates entropy, decay. It's not a creative force. It's a byproduct of a system breaking down.
So if information is the real foundation, it has to exist somewhere, right? Before it becomes a rock or a planet.
It does. And this brings us to a concept that's smaller than anything we can measure, smaller than Planck's constant. They call it the informational ether matrix array.
Whoa. Okay, that's a mouthful.
Yeah. Let's just call it the informational matrix. Think of it as this multidimensional placeholder for all information, the true reality behind our physical one.
It's like the silent operating system of the cosmos.
It is. And the source material has this brilliant analogy for it. It calls it the new zero.
The new zero, like the number.
Exactly like the number. Think about it. Advanced math, engineering, none of it was possible until the concept of zero was invented. The informational matrix is that 0 point for reality.
So you're saying physical reality is just informational potential until something acts on it.
Precisely. It's the state that defines what a thing is, its blueprint, its identity, long before it ever becomes physical. Without that informational zero, you can't have stable matter. It's impossible.
And we can actually see this happening, this idea of information coming before matter.
We can. They call it the scales of decoupling. It's how informational order can detach and reattach from matter.
Okay, give me an example.
A black hole. Matter collapses at the event horizon, it's gone. But Stephen Hawking showed that the information about that matter is preserved.
It's encoded on the surface and radiates back out.
Right. The matter disappears, but the information, the primary thing, persists. That's the ultimate proof that information comes first.
So the coherence score is the blueprint, the potential. And that's what makes this different from, say, assembly theory.
Yes. Assembly theory measures the physical steps it takes to build a complex molecule. That's the physical execution. This theory is looking at the code behind the build, the foundational logic.
Okay, it's easy to talk about information in the abstract, but this framework really hits home when it starts defining things like good and evil. Let's start with evil.
Scientifically, Celominisignum defines evil as destructive randomness.
Just chaos.
More than chaos. It's the active degradation of informational order. It's the noise that corrupts the signal. It's any process that undermines a system's identity and coherence.
So we're not talking about sin or metaphysical darkness. We're talking about measurable breakdown.
Correct. In physics, it's when a signal is just completely lost in noise. In biology, think of a destructive mutation that just deletes functional code from DNA. Socially, evil would be something like exploitation or environmental collapse, actions that destroy the very order needed to sustain life.
Okay, so if evil is destructive randomness, then good has to be order. But you said earlier, not all order is good.
Exactly. A brutal dictator creates a lot of order.
But that doesn't feel very good.
And it isn't, according to this theory, because good has a very specific definition. It's order that is life-based and oriented toward long-term benefits.
Ah, so it has to sustain life.
It has to sustain life, repair broken systems, and maintain that healthy order across time. It's all about long-term consequences, not short-term gain.
That makes DNA repair mechanisms a perfect biological example of good.
Or think about it in finance, a decision that creates long-term stability for employees, customers, the whole system. That's informationally good.
But a private equity firm that guts a healthy company for a quick profit.
That's the definition of destructive randomness. It's scientifically evil because it destroys sustainable order for a temporary, chaotic gain.
This changes the entire definition of morality. It's not about following a set of rules.
It's about making an informational choice. Morality becomes this uniquely human ability to consciously choose. Are you reinforcing randomness or are you sustaining life-based order? That's the yardstick, the information life criterion.
So any action, any law that gets in the way of protecting life or sustaining that coherence over time is functionally evil.
That's what the theory proposes.
Wow. Okay, if this is all grounded in measurable order, there must be some math behind it. And there is. The golden ratio.
The golden ratio, which is about 1.618. We see it everywhere in nature. This theory says it's the signature of balance.
And it breaks it down into a specific ratio for stability.
8 parts order to 5 parts randomness.
8 to 5. So you need order to be dominant, which is a beautiful way of resolving old scientific debates.
It really is. Newtonian physics was too deterministic. It couldn't account for change.
And quantum mechanics sometimes overemphasize randomness, making it hard to see how stable structures emerge at all.
This model synthesizes them. It says randomness is real, but it's always the tertiary subordinate element. Order is primary.
Let's get to the empirical anchors. A theory this big needs some serious proof, and the sources point to experiments we've already done.
We already mentioned black holes, but think about the work of Dr. Lean Howe. Her team literally stopped light.
Right, they slowed it down, held it in a Bose-Einstein condensate, and
But then restarted it, and all of its information was still perfectly intact.
So light isn't just energy, it's a carrier. It's the bridge between the informational world and the material one.
It's the messenger. And we use this principle all the time without thinking about it. Look at advanced 3D printing.
CAL. Computed axial lithography.
Exactly. You use light to imprint a super detailed informational blueprint onto a liquid resin, and matter just takes shape instantly.
It's information telling matter what to become.
And that ties right back to Claude Shannon and classic information theory. Signal versus noise.
Good is the life-sustaining signal.
And evil is the destructive noise that corrupts it and leads to total system failure.
Okay, let's talk about the most ambitious application of this framework, physics. The theory says it can resolve the paradoxes of dark matter and dark energy just by redefining gravity.
It's a massive claim, no question.
So what is gravity then?
Celominisignum says gravity isn't a fundamental force at all. It's an algorithmic emergent property of information itself. It's the algorithm running in the informational matrix to maintain coherence across all scales.
Wow. Okay, so dark matter. That we need to explain why galaxies don't fly apart.
The source argues that's just the effect of hidden informational coherence. The algorithm is holding things together. You don't need some mysterious, unobserved particle. You're just seeing the effects of the underlying code.
And dark energy, the force supposedly pushing the universe to expand faster and faster.
That's reinterpreted as a massive system-wide informational rebalancing. The algorithm is correcting itself on a cosmic scale to maintain that crucial 8-to-5 ratio of order to randomness.
The jump from physics to human behavior is surprisingly seamless in this model. It even classifies people based on their informational alignment.
It does. It lays out 3 developmental stages. First, you have the NPCs, the non-playing characters.
A term from video games.
Exactly. These are people who just passively accept randomness. They're focused on immediate pleasure, immediate gratification, with no thought to the long-term consequences. They're running a corrupted operating system.
Then you have the next stage up.
The modified NPCs, these are people who know something is wrong. They try self-help, patchwork solutions, but they never fix the underlying problem. They're trying to install antivirus software on a corrupted OS.
So the goal is to become a transcender.
A transcender, someone who consciously throws out the corrupted system and aligns themselves with that life-based long-term order. They understand that coherence is the real goal, not temporary pleasure.
And this gives us a totally new way to look at things like trauma and addiction.
It unifies them. It treats them like informational breakdowns, like a malware infection. Destructive randomness gets into the system and starts corrupting the core code of your identity.
It's the same principle for a computer virus, a biological disease, or a psychological wound.
Yes, it's all just information going wrong.
Okay, the ultimate test for any informational theory today has to be AI, artificial intelligence. How does this apply?
AI is, by definition, an informational system. So the moral challenge is just, what is its alignment? You can have an NPC-like AI that just maximizes for a single variable, clicks, profit, whatever, and it doesn't care about the destructive randomness it creates downstream.
Which scientifically would be an evil system.
Correct. Or you can have a transcender-like AI.
One that's aligned with life-based sustainability,
Right.
one that might refuse a harmful command because it violates that long-term coherence.
Exactly. Without that alignment, AI is just an amplifier for all the destructive randomness we already have. But with it, it could be our greatest partner in sustaining order.
So at the end of the day, what does this all mean for us? This theory gives us a pretty rigorous, if radical, roadmap. It says that order, that life, that sustainability, they aren't just moral preferences. They are scientific imperatives baked into the fabric of reality itself.
And any system that fails, that tests a society, an ecosystem, a technology, will just collapse into entropy. It's inevitable. The core takeaway for you, the listener, is that existence is this informational continuum. And we're all faced with a choice: reinforce decay or sustain life.
And that leads to a pretty chilling final thought.
It does. The question you have to ask yourself is this: if the universe itself uses catastrophe, a solar flare, an extinction event, a market crash, as an order-restoring reset when randomness gets too high, what level of destructive randomness will our society tolerate before the system forces its own reset on us?